Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys in Africa. You know we love you, the Big C tribe, but there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave on a beautiful January 15th, 2019. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, it's almost like a little jittery down here. You know, like when you drink too much coffee and you have the shakes and everything.
Yes.
You know, that's how I'm feeling now because I haven't had any football to watch.
Oh, my God, man. What are we going to do about not having football? But Big C, they always have that DVR. You can always get more of it, especially on the replays.
Well, I'm not intelligent enough, Charlton, to work one of those things. You know, the advancement in my technology came with the VCR.
Yeah.
You know, so I went all the way to the end of the alphabet. Now all of a sudden you got this thing called DVR, and I think that's for dummies. You know, so I can't operate it, so it qualifies me.
Well, we all understand that technology can just pass us by at times. You know, we were talking about AI, artificial intelligence, just yesterday, and how that's taken over the world, expected to replace about 40% of the jobs by the year 2035, just 16 years away. But you know, it's all fair and love and war. We actually got rain in California, and people drive out of their minds when you get a little bit of water on the freeway. But when you're driving, make sure you drive safe. That's why this show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. And always a fleet of Cadillac cars that are at your disposal. So, Big C, I just want to get your thoughts on something. You know, in life, you make choices, and hopefully your choices are good for you and good for those around you. But when I look at Clemson, you know, Clemson has a huge athletic fund and athletic budget. They've been in the college football national championships over the last, almost the last decade, basically. And so that brings money into your program. So these kids eat well when the school makes them food, right? However, they go to the White House to celebrate their national championship game, and POTUS serves hamburgers, I think Big Macs. They weren't even the kind of hamburgers that mama can make. When your mama make hamburgers, she cut up real onions and this real beef, Big C. They gave them good old boys some Burger King. They said have it your way, but they really didn't have enough cooks because they're all furloughed, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you think about the White House being cheap.
Yeah.
They won't pay the federal workers. And here it is, you got the national champ.
Yeah.
But you think about this. Clemson has their own personal dietitian on staff and on campus, where the players basically go through a buffet a couple times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Charlton.
Yep.
Making sure that their nutritional needs are met and keep them in fit, peak condition.
Yeah.
They have choices.
Yeah.
You think about going to the White House, celebrating a national championship. This is supposed to be a celebration.
Supposedly.
But you basically bring in lackluster fast food.
Yeah.
Now, anybody who's ever took fast food home, you go to McDonald's, you go to Burger King, you go to Wendy's, you go to Domino's. Now, these are all the places that the president went out and patronized to bring food into the White House for some 100 football players and staff. So basically 150 people, Charles.
Yeah.
You think about it. You go out and pick up a pizza, bring it home. Is that pizza really good anymore, Charlton?
No.
Does that cheese get stringy any longer?
No.
Not only that, I mean, lukewarm pizza is bad enough.
Yeah.
But when was the last time you ate some room temperature fries and enjoyed them?
Yeah, a long time ago.
If those fries are not right out of the grease, they don't have any luster to them, no pizzazz.
Yeah.
And even a hamburger, Charlton, that you bought at a fast food window and drove home with it, is it really enjoyable? Think about that.
Yeah.
And so when you think about these players being invited to the White House, and I think if they win again and he's president, they will turn it down and say, no, we can go out and get crap on our own. But when you think about being cheap, you would expect the president to at least have something catered, Charlton.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to tell me there's not enough catering companies in D.C. Matter of fact, he has a hotel right down the street.
Yeah.
That he doesn't mind having people come in and spend excessive amounts of money. You're going to tell me that there was not a kitchen staff at his hotel that could not have put together a good catering spread
wow.
to send over to the White House, Charlton?
Yeah.
But you send out to a fast food joint, Charlton. You know, that's maybe good for a high school team.
Right.
To go to a fast food joint. You know, you're talking about the national champs, Charlton.
Yeah.
2 out of the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
In Clemson.
Yep.
They're used to eating, you know, serious meals, Charlton.
Good food, healthy food.
You're going to tell, when they're on the road, Charlton,
yep.
and they're on a road game at a hotel, that thing is excessive as far as what they, you know, these players are used to eating steaks,
yeah.
you know, prime rib, Charlton,
yep.
you know, at least some decent chicken. but you bring in fast food and say, okay, be satisfied.
Yeah.
And you say, well, they can get all they want. You know, you don't know how much of that went in the trash, Charlton.
Right, I know it. And some of the players were saying that. And this is not even being flippant. I know the president's under investigation. I hope everything's, you know, going to turn out great for our country. But if you have more in common with Russians than you do the United States of America, then that's, you know, you laid your bet, you got to land it. But
would he have fed the Russians that Charlton when he came in? Think about when he had Kislyak and those guys over for lunch at the White House.
Yep.
You think he called in Burger King and McDonald's and Domino's and say, hey, feed the Russians? You think that's what he orders when his kids come over for dinner, Charlton?
No.
You know, no, he doesn't. But here it is. You're treating, and the majority of these players are African American.
They were. I was going to say that.
So he probably figured that was a great meal for them,
yeah.
you know, based on these S.O. country comments that he's making.
Yeah.
And not only that, Charlton, these are some of the players he's telling to get the hell out of the country next year because a lot of them will be in the NFL.
That is so funny. I think it's so funny. I actually had a hamburger today. I was starving. I needed a hamburger so bad. I'm on this fast, and it's a religious thing, and it's good for your health, etc. But man, I was starting to get lightheaded. I had to get me some red meat. I felt like a lion. You know how lions, they see the gazelle, and they walk up to the gazelle, and the gazelle like, can I help you? He's like, yeah. Hold on, let me catch my breath. Can I eat you? The gazelle's like, I mean, really, what does the gazelle say? He says like, no. The lion said, let me ask you one more time. Can I eat you? And the gazelle says, no, the lion eats it anyway, big. That's how I felt with that hamburger. And I'm not even being flippant. I think when you see how POTUS really fed the Russians, better than Dabo Swinney and them good old boys down at Clemson, you know, those S.O. countries that produce kids that look like most of their football team, Big C, and he fed them fast food, which, let's be honest, is not the healthiest food that you can eat, and that's a fact according to the Surgeon General's Big C. I remember C. Edward Koop back in the day. He didn't look like he was the healthiest person, but at least told us what was not healthy to eat, okay? If you told me what you just said, when I ate my fast food burger that I just had about an hour ago because I was hungry for some red meat, it had been about 14 days, I ate that thing in about 5 minutes. My son ate his in about 3 minutes, Big C. He's a teenager. I thought he dropped it, it was gone. But at the same time, if I would have brought that thing home, it would not have the same effect. When I saw what the White House did, they had the French fries in cups, and the cups were laid out. You know they were stale, Big C.
Well, Charlton, think about this. And I'm not smart, and I don't visit fast food that frequently.
Right.
But who serves French fries in a cup?
Nobody.
You know, a basically paper cup.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out. What the hell franchise is serving French fries in a paper cup now?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about a paper coffee cup.
Yeah.
That's what the French fries are served in. So I need to go by McDonald's and see if they change their branding and their marketing.
Yeah.
Because the president has an insight that none of us have.
Well, ironically, when I paused the DVR and I looked at the cups, it had a presidential seal. So they wasted time on a presidential seal. They probably use it for coffee, but they put it in. It wasn't. Could you imagine going to someone's house because
so what you're saying is that somebody put their hands on the french fries and stuck them in the cup.
Exactly.
We don't even know the sanitary conditions. We know that the president's been dealing in some filthy situations throughout his lifetime, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't know if his staff is any cleaner than he is. So.
And you know where he grabs women, so you don't know if he washes his hands when he's finished grabbing people. And then he put his hand on those fries. You got to understand, wash your hands first, Big P. Everybody has a taste level. And I just think it's a sad, I mean, what does Dabu honestly say, Big C? What does Dabu say? Because a lot of the players were saying they thought it was a joke. Like they thought it was some type of, you know, who's that guy?
A stunt. They were doing.
Yeah, John Quinones was supposed to walk out there and say, you're on candid camera or whatever he does. But what does Dabu Swinney really think? Because he probably voted for Trump. A lot of these white guys that make millions of dollars off of black labor, they don't pay the black guys. They tell them we love you, though. What does Dabu think when he says, I'm a multi-millionaire. I don't even eat French fries in my own house, let alone you get to go to the White House once a year, or when you win a championship for him, you know, the second time in 3 years. What does he really think? That this is what we get? Is this really what you think about as fast food? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you have to think that from the coaching perspective and the players' perspective, that this was beneath them. So, like I said, Clemson has a training table with hired nutritionists and cooks on staff full time for the athletic program at Clemson, Charlton. So all the athletes get to go in and have nutritional meals, regardless of what they want to eat. They're not serving them fast food, Charlton.
No.
They look at that. That's not big. You think about a Big Mac sandwich, Charlton. That's 3 pieces of bread and
1 piece of meat.
2 paper-thin pieces of alleged meat. There, you know. When you think about all of that meat that was served, alleged meat that was served there in the White House, it probably was 4 or 5 pounds, and the rest was filler. Okay. But you ask the nutritionist, is that what he wants on the training table for athletes? I understand athletes will go to fast foods on their own, Charlton.
Right.
But I think this was an embarrassment to our country. With all these federal workers not getting paid. That the president said, well, I paid for this. Like, this is braggadocious. I went out and bought these guys some fast food. Wow, you know, give me a pat on my back.
And I hear he spent about $130,000. So, you know, he might spend $130,000. What a number, Big C. But I'm glad.
So what you're saying is he's going to use this as another tax write-off. If he pays this out of his own pocket line. I want to see $130,000 worth of fast food talk.
That's funny.
Honestly, let's be real. I mean, if he paid for it out of his pocket, he probably paid $2,000, $3,000 for it out of his pocket. But you'll see he paid $150,000.
So what is the first link? You know how sometimes you go to your grandmother's house, and they worked hard for everything they got. A lot of them, they worked as sharecroppers when they were younger, and they got some money. They bought a nice sofa, and they put plastic on it because they wanted it to last. And you could go sit on that sofa, but you could not take off the plastic. So we know that there was a lady that said that Melania had, her bedroom had gold. It was gold in the bedroom, golden sheets or whatever, was gold something. And what does the first lady think when she has, you know, $1,500 shoes, $3,000 purses that she probably walks around in, and then you serve fast food for, you're trying to make a good impression for this team that just won a national championship. All these young black kids coming there, a couple of white kids too. Did she have any say-so on what to serve these people? Because obviously the first lady would like to at least have the dignity to say, we treated you with our best silverware. That make any sense, Big C?
Well, Charlton, I don't even think the first lady attended the event.
Really?
She's not going to be social with these type of players, Charlton. She knows nothing about, you know, the athletics of America, and so she wouldn't know how to interact. And so I saw no photo op with her in this scenario, Charlton. One of those first ladies that's not wanting to indulge and deal with African Americans. You haven't really seen her on that platform since she's been the first lady, Charlton, either with children or with high school and college age students, Charlton. She can't go out and sell a bill of goods to especially college students, Charlton, with her Be Best program, telling them how to be better. You know, got to be able to speak English first.
Now, she did go to Africa, Big C, but that's what she studied Dr. Leakey and Gregor Mendel. They said all life came from Africa. So she went over there, and she realized, they are right now, they don't believe in science, Big C. Your thoughts?
But that was after her husband called them all S.O. countries.
S.O., yeah. She wanted to see.
So she was going over over there are the Good Samaritan scenario to cover for him. Not that she wanted to be there.
Yeah, and she wanted to see what the S stood for in SO country. I just think it's funny. They see Arizona Cardinals. Speaking of an owner who behaves like the SO country that Trump talked about he doesn't like, they have the #1 overall pick in the NFL. Now, the owner, I think it was Bidwell, already said he doesn't really prefer having an African-American coach, work for him. So all this talk about what quarterbacks they need, they're not going to go up to quarterback. They already got the kid out of UCLA who, so far, he's not what they thought he would be, okay? But what would he do with the first pick in the draft? I think the Arizona, not too long ago when they had Coach Arians, they were just in the NFC, playoffs. They were playing really well until I think the quarterback broke his finger on his throwing hand, and then they lost that game to Carolina. So give me your thoughts on what they can do, because they just got rid of their coach. They brought in a coach in Kingsbury that couldn't even keep a job at Texas Tech. Mixie, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I think the Kingsbury move was part of what they're going to do with the first overall pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And, all this talk about Kyler Murray, I honestly believe today, Charlton, that the Arizona Cardinals will draft Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, Charlton, yes, they did draft Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
Josh Rosen is 2, 3, 4 years away from being a serious NFL starter, Charlton.
Yeah.
This won't be the first time that NFL teams have had 2 #1 draft picks on their team. You think about the Green Bay Packers. They drafted Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And they had Brett Favre on the roster, Charlton.
Yeah.
So this is not a far-fetched stretch. But when you look at what Cliff Kingsbury's recent legacy is, he coached Baker Mayfield at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
#1 overall draft pick. Had a decent rookie year, Charlton.
Yep.
Up for Rookie of the Year in the NFL.
Yeah.
He drafted he coached Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech, Charlton, who should be the NFL MVP. He's known Kyler Murray, Charlton, since he was 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah.
And knew at that time that he would be a bona fide athlete and potentially great football player.
Yeah.
So if you take Cliff Kingsbury, Charlton, you got him in Arizona, you bring in Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray has run the type of offense that Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes have run in college, Charlton.
Yeah.
And they were both underneath the tutelage of Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah.
This is a perfect storm, Charlton. If the Arizona Cardinals want to get good fast, you draft Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
You bring him in the first round. You have Josh Rosen. He's under a rookie contract, though.
Yeah.
He's not going to make more than $3 or $4 million next year. That's Rosen.
Yeah.
So this keeps you under the salary cap, Charlton. Do you create a quarterback controversy? No, you don't. You play the best man up. And right now, Kyler Murray seems to be more healthier and understand and can make plays more than Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen, yeah.
The people didn't, balk at Josh Rosen when he was coming out of UCLA, being a dual athlete, Charlton, because he played tennis. No one said, are you going to go on the professional tennis circuit?
Right.
He said, I want to play football.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get that backlash that Murray is getting. Well, he should play football. He should play. They're saying that a black man is not intelligent enough to make his own decision.
Yeah.
He's made his decision.
Yeah.
You think about this, Charlton. You go into baseball. Generally, you're going to play minor league baseball for 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
Before you get to the majors, you're going to ride around on a bus.
Yep.
For at least 2 years.
Yeah.
The thing about the NFL, you're a first-round draft pick, Charlton. As a quarterback, you're guaranteed, and if you're the first pick overall, you're guaranteed between $27 and $30 million.
Yep.
Everybody's talked about the $4.6 million he's got from the A's. His signing bonus alone, if he's the first overall draft pick in the NFL, will be somewhere between $14 and $15 million.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit more than 4.6. I'm not sure. I could go back and
no, you're not the right.
Show me how to do that in math.
Just Google it. Yeah.
But here it is, Charlton. Everybody said, well, he's small, he's diminutive.
Yeah.
Okay, they said the same thing about Drew Brees, who was 5'10".
Fran Tarkenton.
They said the same thing about Russell Wilson, who was 5'10".
Yeah.
They said the same thing about Baker Mayfield, who was 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
And I'll take you back to another former Heisman Trophy winner, Charlton, that was diminutive.
Yeah.
But he has a winning record in the NFL. That's a guy named Doug Flutie.
Doug Flutie,
okay?
Yep.
And he's a better athlete. He's like Doug Flutie 2.0.
Yeah.
He has a better arm. He's faster. And the NFL dynamics at quarterback has changed, Charlton, over the last decade.
Yeah.
Where they don't need that 6'5" stalwart guy standing in the pocket.
They can't
You're
run.
not going to see guys like Ben Roethlisberger and Phillip Rivers come along anymore, Charlton, and say, okay, we can build our franchise.
Right.
You saw what happened to Phillip Rivers last week in the playoffs.
Didn't run.
His vulnerability of lack of mobility.
Yep.
Ben Roethlisberger didn't even make the playoffs, Charlton.
Yeah.
So when you talk about quarterbacks who stand in the pocket, look at the top 6 paid quarterbacks in the NFL, Charlton.
Yeah.
Other than Aaron Rodgers, they were all stand in the pocket quarterbacks. They couldn't get their teams to the playoffs.
Couldn't get their team, and that kid up at Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills, he had nowhere near the success that Baker Mayfield had. Yes, he's about 6 inches taller. So I don't care about how tall somebody is. Jimmy Johnson said a long time ago, I want guys that can play. Look at Donald down there for the LA Rams. There's a lot of players that are taller than him. He's probably 6 feet standing up on his toes. Okay?
Best defensive lineman in football.
Best football. Yeah, best in football, Big C. No one cares how tall he is. He's right there next to Dominican Suh, who's about 6'4", 6'5", but who's a better player. It's not about how tall somebody is. It's about how much, like that lion. That lion said to that gazelle, can I eat you? Well, when he's on the line, he's asking guys, can I eat you all the time? They say no, so they double team him. He ate for 20 sacks this year anyway, Big C. That's how much of a lion he is on the D-line. So it's not about the size. But I've got to get your thoughts, because I like what you said about maybe that's what Arizona's trying to do. I think it would make a lot of sense. Let the young man...
Charlton,
yeah.
People will start following that lineage real soon.
Yeah.
Because Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray are a perfect match, Charlton, as far as what they have done offensively in college.
Yeah.
And this is where the NFL is trending to, Charlton.
Yep.
The quarterback that can extend the play.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they're going.
Yep.
Look at the playoffs right now, Charlton.
Yeah.
Who ran the ball most of all quarterbacks in the playoffs, Charlton? That's what, last week.
Yeah.
Kid in Los Angeles.
Yep.
Jared Goff.
Yeah.
No one says that about Goff, about his mobility and ability to extend the play.
Still the game.
We know that Patrick Mahomes has been noted for it.
Yeah.
But Drew Brees and Tom Brady, great history in the NFL, Charlton.
Yeah.
That's becoming a dying breed.
Yeah, it is becoming a dying breed, Big C. But I got to get your thoughts on this, too, because just like so many owners, you know, when you start giving your team a chance to win, you really don't care what color somebody is. And I'm wondering why that still matters to white men when it comes to jobs, like paid jobs, not when you have a uniform on. You think about all the hot talk about the young black quarterbacks. You have Jalen Hurts leaving Alabama, potentially going to Oklahoma. And then you have Brandon Wimbush leaving Notre Dame, going to Central Florida. You have Dwayne Haskins leaving Ohio State early for the NFL draft, which I think he should be the #1 pick, Big C. And you have Murray leaving Oklahoma early, perhaps going to the NFL. And I like your angle with the Arizona Cardinals because it would give his new coach the same system that the man was groomed under down at Oklahoma, plus also what he did for Baker Mayfield. But when you think about the quarterbacks that I mentioned that have had all of their teams, whether it's Alabama, whether it's Oklahoma, whether it's Notre Dame, Central Florida, they were all in talk for a national championship, the Final Four playoff format. And every single one of those programs, they have athletic quarterbacks. They're not looking for the tall white guy that's 6'4", 6'5", that can't run. They're looking for guys, black or white, that can run and pass, that run, play option pass. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, when you think about that, Charlton, when you brought Haskins up, he was a kid who was a one-year starter at Ohio State.
Yep.
Potential first round. He will be a first-round quarterback, Charlton. It'd be rather he or Murray will be the first or second quarterback taken in the draft when you talk about those two young guys coming out early, Charlton, entering the draft.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at Wimbush, he was undefeated once he was replaced at Notre Dame. He was 4-0, actually 5-0 as a starter this past season for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He's graduating. He's transferring to Central Florida. He's going to go down there and play under Charlie Strong, Charlton.
Yeah.
And then when we talk about Jalen Hurts, he's graduated from Alabama. He's 26 as a starter, Charlton.
Yeah.
And he's also got a team into the into the national championship game, Charlton, when he came in relief in the SEC championship.
Yeah.
So he's been responsible personally, Charlton, for 27 victories.
Yeah.
You know, and 2 losses at Alabama.
Yeah.
Now, if he moves on, Charlton, and go to Oklahoma, he's going to be under Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley is the coach that's produced the last 2 Heisman Trophy winners, Charlton.
Yeah.
He's the first coach in history to have back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners, Charlton, in his first 2 years of coaching at the collegiate level.
Wow.
So you think about the success that he's provided. You know, he had Baker Mayfield, who started for 1 year under him.
Yeah.
He had Kyler Murray, who started for 1 year under him. Now, Jalen Hurts goes in. He has aspirations to get to the NFL, Charlton.
Yeah.
And if he can succeed in that offense in Oklahoma, look where he may be, Charlton, next year as a high-round draft pick in the NFL under Lincoln Riley.
I like where you're going there, Big C. And again, it's just like if you look at some of the quarterbacks that have had success, I think we were saying, and I may be wrong about the number, but I think it was about out of the African-American quarterbacks in the NFL that were given a chance to start a team, I think there were 8. I might be wrong. But also I think there were about 6 that made the playoffs. And when you think about that, those are pretty good numbers, 6 out of 8 or 6 out of 9, whatever the number was. I know it's within one person. And look at the players that you just talked about that are either transferring or coming out and going into the NFL. Big C, there was a time when you could not even get a job as an African-American playing quarterback in the NFL. Now it's like the teams that want to win, they get them. Or they get white guys who can play like the black guys. The kid Lawrence down at Clemson, he doesn't play like your typical white, stand in the pocket, throw the ball downfield quarterback, a.k.a. Peyton Manning from back in the day, or even Tom Brady when he played up at Michigan from back in the day. You think about what we're seeing, even the Caucasian quarterbacks, they're getting them that can have the same kind of athleticism that the young black guys have had over the years, that they always maligned and made them defensive backs. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I go back to the great Doug Flutie when he played at Boston College, a very diminutive white quarterback. But no one said when he was coming out of college, well, maybe we should make a receiver out of him or a defensive back.
Yeah.
That was never said about Doug Flutie. Doug was a tremendous athlete.
Great athlete.
Tremendous basketball player as well as a football player, Charlton.
Yeah.
But that talk was never done about Doug Flutie. Although every team he played for in the NFL, whether it was the Patriots, whether it was the Bears, whether it was the Chargers, look at Doug Flutie's win-loss record as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
The knock on him was that he made the tall white guys look bad. Doug Flutie was basically the black-white quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, he was.
Is what he was. He was the black-white quarterback in the NFL because he was destroying all of the stature structure that the white system had put in that they wanted their quarterbacks to look like.
Yeah.
And they were telling Doug he act like he was black out there playing, okay?
Yeah.
You know, all you're doing is winning and making these guys look bad.
They treat him,
they we give it the multi-million-dollar contract. Think about it. When he was in Buffalo, they had Rob Johnson. They had signed Charlton. They brought Rob Johnson in out of Jacksonville. Rob Johnson was 6'5". Doug Flutie was 5'9". He gets them to the playoffs. They put Rob Johnson in. They lose the playoffs. You look at Doug Flutie when he was in San Diego. They replaced him with Ryan Leaf, another 6'5" guy, Charlton. He blew up and became a drug addict, okay? So, you know, he was in Chicago. He has a winning record, takes the Bears to the playoffs. They replaced him with Mike Tomczak, Charlton. So wherever Doug Flutie went, and he made the high-priced guys look bad, they got rid of him. We've seen a lot of that with black quarterbacks in the NFL also, Charlton.
Yeah, they treat him like he's black. In fact, they treat him so black he had to go to Canada where he won some Grey Cups too. He's just been a success everywhere they gave him the opportunity. Speaking of opportunity, man, I love what you just said about Doug Flutie because it didn't matter how tall he was when he was balling. All he was doing was winning, Big C. John Elway, your friend John Elway, Big C, he said today.
We've had a drink or two.
And you had a drink or two together.
And that's like he's still drinking.
And he wanted to know who ordered the gratuity because he's not paying it. That's what he wanted to know. But speaking of not paying the gratuity, he even said that he made a mistake when he hired Vance Joseph. That it was a mistake. That's a white dog whistle. I think the mistake was when the ownership of Denver gave the GM position to John Elway. John Elway, whoever happened to Paxton Lynch? Was that John Elway's signature? Didn't he pay for that gratuity, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, you know, and it was an embarrassment to football, Charlton, for a guy that's in personnel management, GM, saying he made a mistake hiring a black coach. I mean, he should have just been advanced, Joseph. He should have said he made a mistake hiring a black coach. Because that's what he said. But he never said he made a mistake in making Trevor Siemian the starting quarterback.
Nope.
He never said he made a mistake in drafting Paxton Lynch.
Nope.
You know, in the first round drafted, who was not even in the NFL, and he drafted him 3 years ago. He never said that signing Case Keenum was a mistake.
Nope.
But he said hiring the black guy was a mistake, Charlton. Even though he was the guy who would sign the white quarterbacks who have not been able to produce. This is John Elway. In the last 4 years, look at where the Denver Broncos have been record-wise. Look at their quarterbacks. They haven't had an all-pro quarterback, Charlton, in the last 5 seasons.
They have not.
If you think about that. Peyton Manning 6 years ago was an all-pro quarterback setting records. But they have not. I mean, he also drafted your friend Brock Osweiler.
He sure did.
So when you think about the number of quarterbacks that John Elway has gone through, Peyton Manning, Brock Osweiler, and Peyton Manning just happened to be a free agent that came there, Charlton. But Brock Osweiler, he drafted. He's gone. He's in Miami, you know, stealing money. Trevor Siemian, Charlton, he got Brock Osweiler at quarterback. He's gone. Paxton Lynch couldn't beat out anybody and sit on the bench crying. You know,
I agree.
They cut him.
I agree.
And Case Keenum, they brought him in, and he could only get 6 wins.
That's John Elway.
And when he says that I made a mistake in hiring Vance Joseph, the black coach, no, you made big mistakes in signing those white quarterbacks that could not play.
Exactly. So they made the black guy the fall guy, and no one in the world, in fact, no one in the universe will call out John Elway, but just look at his record. Without Peyton Manning, this is the same John Elway that let Aqib Talib go. Is Aqib Talib playing this weekend, Big C, in the NFC Championship game? Big C, your thoughts?
You know, I'm going to check the Rams roster and see if he's still on the team.
Just Google it.
You know, you let Demaryius Thomas go, Charlton, and help the Texans get into the playoffs, Charlton.
Same thing, same guy. It's that same good old boy mentality. If you're a white guy, and you guys know it's true, you're only going to hear it on Big C Sports. If you're white, nobody calls them out on their racism, okay? You don't say anything bad about yourself when you hired some white guys to help you lose in Denver. Even the same time, their best linebacker, they made him struggle just to get a contract renewal when Von Miller was the leading guy in the NFL and still is one of the top 3 or 4 linebackers. But when he was the king of the hill, they made him sweat just to get a new contract. Because that was John Elway's signature when he said, who ordered the gratuity? That was John Elway that did not want to pay the gratuity. So they still without a good quarterback. That's not Van Joseph's fault. That's John Elway's fault. And you other owners know it. Since Peyton Manning walked out of that organization, or did he limp out with a bad foot? He had a bad foot, so they put a cast on his neck, Big C. Whatever happened with that doctor.
He had a bad neck, and they put a cast on his foot.
So that's John Elway with his money all over it. No, John Elway's the problem in Denver. You'll see when Pat Bowen, this one's for John. He made a mistake by turning over the realms to John. Okay, Big C. Drew Brees turning 40 years old today. The Super Bowl could potentially have the oldest tandem of quarterbacks in its history at a combined age of 81. Okay, if Brees and if you get your friend Tom Brady, if they play in this Super Bowl, it'll be a great Super Bowl, but it'll also be great if we get Patrick Mahomes in there too with golf. We have the top 2 in each division, no matter who gets in. It's going to be a Super Bowl where the team that wins will most likely have to score at least 30 points, and they're all capable. But give me your thoughts on guys who finished early. You have Brees and you have Manning, not Manning, but you have Brees and you have your good boy again, Brady. They are having, it's like they're playing their best football as they're older, like fine wine. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you think about having 2 quarterbacks in the divisional finals, Charlton, for the Super Bowl that are 40 years old. And they both passed for over 4,500 yards, Charlton. You look at all the young quarterbacks in the NFL that everybody said franchise quarterbacks. And overpaid. Neither one of those guys, Charlton, at 40 years old, are in the top 6 paid quarterbacks in the league. Think about that. Neither one of those are in the top 6 paid quarterbacks in the league. Yet they both have Super Bowl championships. They have that, Charlton. They're all-time greats when you think about yardage-wise in the history of the NFL, Charlton. Breeze is number one. Brady's up there in the top 5, Charles.
Yeah.
As far as what he's done over his career.
Yeah.
But none of these guys are in elite money when it comes to the NFL.
Wow.
So when you think about championship guys, Charlton, all-time greats in all sports, in baseball, in the NBA, how many guys in the NBA that we know of that were as productive as Tom Brady and Drew Brees in their 40s? You know, that list is beyond short, okay?
Yeah.
When we think about Kareem, we think about what guys getting into that upper echelon. Jordan couldn't even make it that far, Charlton, age-wise.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson couldn't get there. Julius Erving couldn't get there. Larry Bird couldn't get there, Charlton.
Wow.
So when they talk, Shaq couldn't get there. So when you talk about greatness in a sport, Charlton, the greatest players in the NBA could not perform at the age of 40 that Drew Brees and Tom Brady are.
And
we go to Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Hank Aaron wasn't productive like that. Willie Mays, Charlton. Reggie Jackson. Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
Mark McGwire.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle. We think about the great players in the sports, and you couldn't even get a picture, Charlton, in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
But we think about the great players across the platform of professional sports. And everyone wants to talk about who the GOATs are.
Yeah.
You can't take Tom Brady and Drew Brees out of those conversations, Charlton, because these are guys that are competing with young men, Charlton, that are 15, 20 years younger than they are.
Yeah.
Going out there dominating them, Charlton.
Beating them
so
down.
when you talk about the greatest athletes that have participated in team sports, Charlton, you got to put Tom Brady and Drew Brees up there on that top shelf.
Yeah, and I think that's incredible to even have that knowledge, because oftentimes people tell you that running backs are washed up when they're 30-something. They'll say a quarterback's probably washed up when he's about 34, 35, somewhere in there, Big C. But you just named two of the best players in the history of any sport. They're still balling and they're still going strong. I just think it's incredible what they're doing. We know we have these great games coming up over the weekend, and a lot of people are going to realize this is football at its finest. It's not about players on the decline. It's about players that are getting better. But what I want to say is sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. For every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know that Big C sent you. So Big C, bringing up that point, and we think about Dirk Nowitzki. I think he's 39, somewhere around there, and this is probably his last year for the Dallas Mavericks. But he's not balling at that level. He's not getting the Mavericks anywhere near a championship game. So, correct. Those players, and I know Tom Brady takes a lot of flack, perhaps, for what he's doing to stay young or to stay youthful, and the same thing Drew Brees. They both have avoided major injuries, too. That's a big part, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Brady had the major injuries several years ago, Charlton, when Matt Castle took over when he blew out his knee. But he came back strong, Charlton, and has taken the team to a couple Super Bowl championships since then. My point that I'm making about great athletes, Charlton, when you look at running backs in the NFL, as we talk about the greatest running backs to ever play in the game, none of those guys are ever productive, Charlton, really beyond 32, 33 years of age when you look at them. Even in the NBA, when you look at the decline, I mean, Kobe Bryant played 20 years in the NBA for the Lakers. Was Kobe Bryant competing for an MVP of the league, Charlton?
No.
Tom Brady just came off an MVP season last year at the age of 40, okay?
Wow.
Drew Brees was in the running for the MVP this year at the age of 40. Patrick Mahomes may ultimately end up winning it, Charlton. But when you think about it, both of these players, Charlton, have their teams on the crest of going to a championship game. Tom Brady had his team there last year at the age of 40, Charlton. You can't find the NBA players, Charlton, that were the leaders of their organization getting their team to a championship game at the age of 40. You can't find me a Major League Baseball player, Charlton, that dominated the opponents that led his team to the World Series. Even in hockey, Charlton, you're not going to find it. So whenever people want to have that conversation about, Michael Jordan being the GOAT, they want to have that conversation about Jerry Rice being the GOAT. And whatever basketball player or football or hockey player, even Wayne Gretzky, the great one in hockey, Charlton, he was not competitive in the last couple of years of his career.
No.
He just happened to be on the franchise. Mario Lemieux, the great Gordie Howe in hockey.
Yep.
So when you want to sit there and have an argument about the greatest athletes of all time, I mean, Bill Russell holds the title for those championship trophies and rings, Charlton.
Yeah.
That will never be ascended upon.
But he was not MVP.
People want to say Jordan with his 6 titles.
Yeah.
Tom Brady has made more championship appearances than Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So when you want to talk about, yes, he only's won 5, Charlton.
Only.
Think about the wealth of players that he's competed with, Charlton, on his team. He's had a gamut. Jordan had that same nucleus, basically.
Yeah.
Tom Brady has done it with a whole plethora of different players, Charlton. That just exudes his greatness, that he can take whatever you put in the cabinet and make a gourmet meal out of it.
And so that means he won't be serving food at the White House when Clemson comes in for the championship, Big C. And think about that, too. If Brady happens to get back to the Super Bowl, could you imagine when he had that big win down in New Orleans and they beat the Rams, the greatest show on turf? And I think Kurt Warner was the quarterback for the Rams. That's the same Tom Brady that can meet the new Kurt Warner in golf now. If those two teams make it, and there's a chance they're both road teams, it's rare that both road teams will win. One may get through, but I doubt if both will get through. But could you imagine if he's going into another Super Bowl and he's playing against the same organization that he started his greatness under, but they've been through several different quarterbacks, Big C, your thoughts on the Rams?
You think, I hadn't even thought about that, Charlton, that his championship run started against the Rams in New Orleans, against the greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner,
who's
had the most passing yards in a single Super Bowl. I believe his record is 415 yards, against the same New England team.
Yeah.
But as you look at the evolution of the Rams, look at all the quarterbacks they've gone through since Kurt Warner, Charlton.
And
Kurt Warner went back to a Super Bowl after they said he was washed up with the Rams.
Yeah.
He took the Cardinals to a Super Bowl. And if not for a great interception return by James Harrison of 100 yards right at halftime, he would have won a championship with the Cardinals.
Yeah. And they moved cities also, Big C. The Rams have moved cities since.
They moved cities. They've gone back to Los Angeles. But, this shows the test of time. And you think about it. Who had a better season this year, Charlton, between those two quarterbacks? Tom Brady had a better season than Jared Goff, who was the #1 overall draft pick 3 seasons ago in the NFL. They're both striving, Charlton, to get to the Super Bowl to face each other.
Isn't that
the oldest quarterback in the NFL, Charlton, versus one of the young upstarts in the NFL, Charlton.
And Goff went to Cal Berkeley, and he's from the North Bay. And Brady grew up in San Mateo area, and he was supposed to go to Cal Berkeley, ended up going to Michigan. Cal's produced a lot of great quarterbacks over the years. It would be just amazing if they meet. But let's
think about if he makes it, it would be the latest Cal quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl. The first Cal quarterback, Charlton, to make it to the Super Bowl was a kid named Joe Kapp.
Joe Kapp,
who played at Cal. Joe Kapp went to Canada, played with Bud Brandt up in Winnipeg. They both came back to the U.S. together, Charlton, to the Minnesota Vikings. Bud Brandt's still an icon up there in the Minnesota area, Charlton, up in St. Paul, Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And Joe Kapp, took the Vikings to their first Super Bowl, and he was a quarterback out of Cal. But the greatest quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, come out of there also.
Yeah.
But the greatest quarterback, Charlton, to come out of Cal, probably, and never got a chance to play in the NFL, was a kid named Joe Roth.
Yeah.
Joe Roth died of cancer shortly after his senior season, right before the NFL draft, Charlton. I believe it was in 1975. Who had set all type of Cal records, Charlton, and was a bona fide first-round draft pick and potential superstar. He quarterbacked at Cal after Steve Bartkowski, who had been the #1 overall draft pick of the Atlanta Falcons and played 10, 11 years down in Atlanta and set all type of Falcon records prior to your buddy down there getting all that money.
Matt Ryan.
And not producing. But Cal has had great quarterbacks. They had the kid Kyle Boller, who was the #1 draft pick of the Ravens.
Yep.
We know of Aaron Rodgers. We've seen what Jared Goff has done lately, Charlton, and Steve Bartkowski.
Yep.
And Joe Kapp prior to them.
Yeah, they also had a guy, Troy Taylor, that was out of the Sacramento area, and he played up there at Cal, also played for the Jets. They've had they've had more quarterbacks come out of Cal than USC, but when you think West Coast football and quarterbacking schools, most people think that it's the USC Trojans, and that's why you have so many players that make Southern California as a place for quarterbacks. But really, you just mentioned it's been Cal. Even Stanford's had a success with a lot of great quarterbacks coming out, and we mentioned that before. Big C, going back as we look at great players and in different leagues, they all tend to wear a certain kind of shoe. They want to have the lion. They want to be that lion on the field, the one that can attack and get what they want. Lions also protect. But when you think about some of the great shoes that they've all worn, we need to come out with the Big C shoe, Big C. No, that'd be like triple ball, so maybe we won't do as well. The big guys might shut us down. But Nike, they released, we talked about artificial intelligence just a couple of days ago, right? Nike releases their new sneaker tomorrow. It's called Back to the Future. It laces itself for $350, kind of like the ones that we saw in the Black Panther. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I mean, it's amazing, the technology. And you need an app on your phone to run the shoe. You think about that. And I might have to get that, Charlton, because me bending over is not a fun thing anymore. Just get down. I got to pull my stomach up out of the way and everything. I look a little bit like Bitch Wofo, who used to play with the Patriots and the Texans. Big nose guard. But you think about where shoe technology has gone. I mean, a couple decades ago, when Reebok came out with the pump, and I remember it was D. Brown with the Celtics, Charlton, pumping up his shoe in the NBA dunk contest, Charlton, and winning that. And it was the biggest thing back in the 80s. Reebok had this pump-up shoe that you could, adjust it around your feet. Nike has taken it to the new millennium, Charlton, tomorrow releasing Back to the Future. When you touch your phone and your phone ties up your shoes. I mean, that's a little scary. Think about if you get a phone call you don't like and somebody, puts a virus on your phone. You might have some hurt feet at that point, Charles.
I think Putin already found that phone. It holds up the vote, Big C, from what I understand. Donald Trump. There's so much I heard about POTUS and his good old boys. A lot of people being indicted. Have you ever heard of a president of the United States of America saying, I am not practicing espionage, I'm not a Russian spy? What? Not even Nixon had to say that. Could you imagine? This is the same garbage that called SO countries and was asking President Obama to prove his birth certificate. I wish that he would do the same thing for his taxes to show that he's a taxpayer. But could you imagine the guy that went after the Obama family, not just President Obama, but his whole family, Sasha, Malia, Michelle, because he put such a dispersion on them, but it's all his friends that are going to prison. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Dalton, we've never in our history had to witness such type of, language and coming out of the White House, disparaging comments about other people. But, to have our national intelligence agency, Charlton, open up an investigation in 2017 on a sitting president, Charlton. Because of moves and comments that he's made, things that he's been hiding from our federal, investigators. That's what he's been doing. Our Secret Service needs to know what the president is doing and saying
all the time,
because it helps us in our national defense. Is that you're keeping secret the words between you and our adversaries in Russia. That all this is confidential in your meetings. That our national security directors don't have access to that, Charlton. That's very dangerous when it comes to America. And I think all the people who voted for him, Charlton, are now starting to get the picture. When we look at the mass plant closings in America that's going on right now, all the people in the coal industry, where he said he was going to bring back the coal industry. The coal industry is like a lot of other industries, Charlton. When you talk about artificial intelligence, the technology has moved beyond you. The price of producing coal, Charlton, the price of processing coal and operating a coal environment, as far as your industry, Charlton, technology is taking that on. Solar is cheaper than coal.
It sure is.
And easier to use over time.
Cleaner, of course,
so when you go to West Virginia and you see all those idle coal mines still and all those people languishing, they were sitting there waiting on the president to force people to start using coal. That's what he didn't tell them. That he could not force industry to go back and fire up coal plants for their energy, Charlton. And those people were lied to, as many other Americans are lied to, And they're starting to wake up to it, Charlton. But it's a little too late. He's already executed his plan.
It's a little too late, Big C. I think that Congressman Steve King of Iowa, he's been stripped of all of his congressional party duties, and people are seeking his resignation. It may be just a smokescreen for Trump, but remember, we just talked about it just 2 days ago. Elijah Cummings, the most powerful black man in the universe, up there in Congress, 13th year. I mean, it's amazing how a man has a sterling reputation, get called back 13 times, and then you have a congressman in Iowa being stripped of his congressional resignation because people don't like his behavior. And there's a time when people thought they could be like Trump, but it doesn't work for everybody. I just want to get your thoughts on that because Iowa's a big sports state. They're also big with agriculture, but you can't always let people think because they're in a small or remote part of the country that they can get away with things because they're under the public eye. Also, Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you think about the acting attorney general, Charlton. He's from Iowa also.
Same guy,
But when you look at King, Charlton, the comments that King has made are also comments that Trump has resonated.
Trump has done the same thing.
He looked at, Trump looked at King as a guy that he could follow the things that you said because he's been saying that he's a white nationalist for a long time, Charlton.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it's becoming unacceptable. The president has made that statement on television that he's a white nationalist, Charlton.
Yeah.
That white nationalists are good people, KKK are good people.
Yeah.
He was also, backed by David Duke, in running for president, Charlton.
Yeah.
I think this is the Republicans say, okay, we're going to take some heat off of Trump and we're going to go after King.
That seems like it might be.
We got to have a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
That's what I see with King is that and today he wanted to renounce what he said on Capitol Hill, voting for a resolution saying that type of dialogue is unacceptable.
Yeah.
Charlton, he didn't just start using that dialogue. He's been using it for the last decade. He's used it in the Senate before.
Yeah.
But the dog whistle just came to roost, Charlton.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It didn't change him as a person. It doesn't change the Republican Party. It doesn't change the president. People are going to call for his resignation.
Yeah.
They're not going to call for the president's resignation for using that rhetoric about abusing women, about abusing minorities, Charlton.
Yeah.
They're not going to say anything to the president, but they're going after Steve King, Charlton. Anytime that you can throw up an illusion to try to divert people,
it's a smoke
that's
screen.
what the president has done his entire presidency. And I think this is a diversion by our politicians to pressure off of the president.
It may just be Big C. And also, just one more thing, because I'm a West Coast guy. For all the people that are affected by the federal government shutdown, POTUS not wanting to fund the government, even in Los Angeles, this is mostly public schools. 34,000 Los Angeles teachers strike, more than 900 schools. I mean, it's amazing. It's affecting 500,000 people. 34,000 teachers, 900 schools, 500,000 people are affected by it. It has nothing to do with the federal government shutdown. It's just people looking for the opportunity. They have the proper insurance, proper pay, etc. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it actually does have to do with the federal shutdown. You want to know why?
How's that?
Because they're asking for more funding. Think about this. You have the educators in our country asking for funding. Who is the president? Who is the Secretary of Education? A lady named Betsy DeVos.
Yep.
Okay? Who wants private schools. Wants charter schools.
Yeah.
Okay? This is what she wants. She doesn't care about the public schools. Charlton, the federal government has diverted funding from our public schools. So all you people that say he's going to make things great again, think about when your schools are not funded, when there's not enough nurses in the schools. And the LA School District, Charlton, has class sizes averaging over 40 students per class.
Wow.
Think about that.
Yep.
Over 40 students per class. No teacher can structure a class with over 40 students. When you have lack of nurses in the school, Charlton, for children that are ailing, that are sick, a lot of these children, Charlton, don't have health care, which our Congress said, okay, we're going to get rid of Obamacare. So they couldn't afford health care. Their family can't afford health care. So the only health care they get, Charlton, is coming to school dealing with the school nurse.
That's a very good point.
The teachers wanting a pay increase of 5 to 6%. I know the price of living in California is high. But think about living in that Los Angeles area, Charlton.
Oh, my goodness.
One of the highest real estate areas in the country.
Yeah.
Okay? And so when you have teachers saying, we need help.
Yeah.
But the president said, no. You people understand, I want the money for a wall.
For the wall, yeah.
You've never heard the president advocate about education in this country, Charlton. Not one time in 2 years have we heard the president stand on any of these donkey tours that he has gone on
right.
with his base.
Yeah.
Said, hey, I'm here about education. We're going to fund education. We're going to make sure we're the best educated country in the world.
Wow.
No, I want to build a damn wall.
Yeah.
I don't care about the kids being educated because he's talking about this wall. You realize, Charlton, that those border workers, Charlton, are not being paid?
Yeah.
They're not being paid. So why don't they turn it back and just let everybody through? They're not being paid.
Isn't that something?
When you think about that,
yeah.
But the president has turned his back on education. And why do we say politics and sports don't mix, Charlton?
It always
because
makes
if these kids can't get an education and pass their SAT and the ACT, can they get a college scholarship? No, Charlton.
No.
They cannot.
That's
so when we have lack of education in the middle schools, the grammar schools, and the high schools, Charlton, we're no longer funding college athletics because we don't have kids with a GPA that can play.
That's amazing information because a lot of those kids down there in Southern California, it's one of the most diverse regions in the United States of America. One of the most diverse regions in the United States of America not having the funding they need to get a proper education. While America's trying to build a wall, China's putting their kids in charge of this artificial intelligence, trying to read the world in technology, and we're leading the world in trying to build a wall for people of color. Big C, as we go back into where you have to get the SATs in order to get into college basketball, #1 Duke, they lose for the second time this season. Last night lost to Syracuse, and Coach Boeheim now without a point guard for at least a month or two. He had a separated shoulder. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this is one of those teams that now has to worry. When you build a program around one and done's, Charlton,
yeah,
that means you really don't have depth in your program. Zion Williams got poked in the eye a few nights ago, Charlton.
Yeah.
Missed the game last night versus Syracuse. Now your #1 point guard, who is a freshman, is out for over a month with a separated shoulder, Charlton.
Yeah.
Who knows what his time frame is? So this is something that could drop Duke down in the rankings. This is their second game that they lost last night to the University of Syracuse this season, Charlton.
Yeah.
So Duke now has to worry about the health of their program. You know that they'll make the tournament, Charlton, but how deep will they go with these guys that are now going to be looking at, do I stay healthy or do I put all out for this university here during this season?
Well, they're always trying to get to that next level. It's a nice NBA schedule. Golden State's at Denver. What a game. I mean, that's probably the game of the night, of course, maybe even the game of the month. And looking for Chicago at the LA Lakers. Sacramento will play at Charlotte. And then you have Minnesota at Philadelphia. OKC at Atlanta. Miami at Milwaukee. But I want to get your thoughts on a couple of things happening in the NBA. James Harden had 57 points. It's almost like it's a video game for him. 57 points in 34 minutes last night for the 17th consecutive game with over 30 points. When will this streak end? This guy is amazing, Big C. It's not as if he's going to go out and not have this type of performance again. It's almost every week he's dropping at least 40 points and not to get 57 in 34 minutes. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, he was going into that game, Charlton, tied with Kobe Bryant for 16 consecutive games of 30 points. And in 34 minutes to eclipse 57 points.
Amazing.
But you got to worry about James Harden being tired. If you remember the playoffs last year, Charlton,
yeah,
Harden had to, muster most of the load because Chris Paul was gone.
Yeah.
But he spent the season making himself the MVP, Charlton, so that meant he had to play hard every night.
Yeah.
This is the same thing that we're looking at with James Harden right now. They lost Tucker, they lost Capella. No, you realize in the starting lineup last night for Houston, Charlton, other than Harden, there was no other player in the Rockets lineup that had more than 15 points in that game.
Wow.
So the workload is on Harden's back. We say that he shoots a lot, Charlton. But what I look at is everybody saying that, he needed one game last night to break Kobe Bryant's consecutive, 30-point scoring outburst.
Yeah.
That's not even close to the record, Charlton. As we talk about great players of the past, did they not realize that a guy averaged 54 points a game for a season? And in the following season, he averaged 52 points a game.
Yeah.
His 30-point consecutive game streak, Charlton, is at 64.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
64 consecutive games that Wilt scored at least 30 points.
Yep.
So James Harden has to do that the rest of the season and then get into next year, Charlton, scoring at least 30 points every game.
Yep.
So, I love all these guys on all these sports shows talking about, wow, he's going to break Kobe Bryant's record of consecutive 30-point games.
Yeah.
And hello, guys. Wilt didn't play in the ESPN generation or the Fox Sports generation, okay?
No.
He's an NBA player with all the damn records.
And he never shot a three-point basket, and he still was balling, Big C. What's wrong with the Boston Celtics? They've lost 3 consecutive road games. Now, Kyrie Irving, when they were playing their last game, I think they were playing the Nets, and the crowd was shouting that you're going to be traded, you won't be here. I think he and Gordon Hayward had some words. Everybody has words. It's just when it's on camera, they make it seem like, oh, this never happened. Athletes having words? People always have words. But Kyrie, whether he's happy there or not, I still think Kyrie is the one that has a ring on his finger. The other guys don't, Big C. Gordon Hayward doesn't. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, we talked about this at the beginning of the NBA season. There's 3 young guys, Rozier, Brown, and Tatum, that got the Celtics to the Eastern Final last year, Charlton, versus the Cavaliers.
Yeah.
We said that when Hayward and Irving came back, that continuity would be disrupted. Everyone talked about Irving having a ring. That was with the Cavaliers. Gordon Hayward has never been in a championship round, Charlton.
No.
And didn't even play at all last year.
No.
So, but those young players develop. And what happened with the Celtics by keeping Irving and Hayward, Charlton? You disrupted the growth and the continuity that those young players had developed with Tatum, Rozier, and Brown in Boston last year, Charlton. And these guys now don't have a role with the team. You look at the Celtics, they've lost 3 consecutive road games, Charlton. They have Philadelphia at home tonight. They could go 0 for 4 in their last 4 games. And no one thought that the Celtics would be in that situation.
No.
But the disruption of those 2 veteran players, breaking up the continuity of those young players. We talk about Danny Ainge, and everyone says, well, he's such a genius. Well, he wasn't a genius. He pulled the John Elway in this scenario. Let me take these old guys and stop the growth of these young guys, and we should be better. It hasn't worked out in Boston this year, Charlton.
No, it really works out that way. As we swing to the West Coast on our final segment, how long, and we've talked about it before, we don't advocate for anybody being pushed out of any position. You just call it like it is, Big C. Going back and forth, how long will the current LA Lakers structure last with Luke Walton as head coach? I know he's trying to say, hey, I'm coaching more. I see him more out on the court talking to the official crew. But when you study body language, which is 55% of how people communicate, LeBron James is the alpha male in that organization. I don't think you can have a lot of success with the Lakers if you have Walton. He's not an alpha male. He's a nice guy. Nice guys don't awfully tell lions what to do, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, the current Laker brass didn't hire Walton, and we've always heard that in sports is that people in charge want their guy in place, okay? LeBron James told everybody, look, everybody wants to talk about me negatively in the media about how I've changed the structure and the growth of the Lakers. Let me sit my butt down, okay? And that's what he did. Let me sit my butt down. Now, they got the Chicago Bulls tonight, Charlton. An Annapolis organization. We saw that they just lost to the Cavaliers. Now, they lose to the Bulls tonight, Charlton. That means they're 4-11 since Christmas. Okay? And hell of a Christmas and New Year's they've been having. So, and where's LeBron been sitting back? He's like, hey, I'm over here. Everybody said I was stunning the growth of the young players on the Lakers. I'm watching the young players just like the fans. They ain't no damn good.
That's true. That's true.
That's what he's saying. But I think that the Lakers are getting in line, Charlton, to make a move with Walton when LeBron comes back. Now, there's a former Lakers sitting out there, Charlton, that was just coaching last year in the NBA Finals. A guy named Tyronn Lue. That has an excellent relationship with LeBron James.
3 finals in a row.
James, he understand each other. So, is that the move that the Lakers are looking at?
Well,
Tyronn Lue, I feel, will be a Lakers coach before LeBron James leaves out of that organization, Charlton.
He should be. He was walked over by Allen Iverson when they played in the finals back in the day, Big C. Big C, that's great knowledge. You'll hear about it more on the other networks. Back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men rumble, Big C. What are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, what I'm looking forward to is a game tonight out there in Golden State. You have the number 1 team in the West, the Denver Nuggets, versus the number 2 team in the West, the Golden State Warriors. The game of the night in Los Angeles, in California, you talk about the tale of two cities. The Lakers are down now in ninth position without LeBron James.
Yeah.
You have the Nuggets and the Warriors fighting for the number 1 seed, Charlton, in the NBA West.
Yeah, and that game is in Denver. You know everything's high in Denver. I don't know why it's so smoky up in Denver, but it won't be smoky on Big C Sports every Monday through Friday. You can clear the fog and see through the fog every Monday through Friday on the Big C Sports Network, on the number 1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number 1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.